Hey everybody, Brian here again from Touring Plans. It is pretty early Monday morning. It is about 6:45 my time on Monday morning. But as promised, I am here to tell you all about the news that was announced during the Parks and Resorts panel of the D23 Expo yesterday in Anaheim, California. Now, 2 years ago was when we got announcements about things like Star Wars Land. Of course, hopes were high this year, and we did get a lot of stuff. Not quite as much as that, but still, just to warn you, this is going to be a while. I'm gonna try to go relatively quickly, although anybody who's watched these before knows I'm not great at going quickly. And I have 11 pages of notes, so let's get into it. For those of you, I have a feeling a lot of these videos tend to get viewers that I don't think watch a lot of our other videos. I strongly suggest you go do that. We have a lot of stuff all about Disney, Universal, theme parks, great stuff. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to Touring Plans. I'll be talking about that in a little bit. Let's start. I'm going to apologize in advance for looking down so much. I do have a lot of notes. Normally I'm pretty good about remembering what I hear, but there was just too much to do that, so I'm going to have to read some of it. Luckily you'll have pictures and things to look at while I do this. So let's start with the one piece of news that is not park related at all. That is that Disney and Target are teaming up to put kind of mini Disney stores in a bunch of Targets. It's going to start with 25 Target stores across the country that will open on October 4th. So it's only like, what, 5 weeks away or something like that. This is what the mini stores will look like. As you can see, it's just looks like a tiny little store. They do have about 450 items in them, including more than 100 products that were only available previously at Disney retail locations. Here is the list of the 25 stores that are getting them October 4th. There will be 40 more that get them by October of next year. So if there's not one near you on this list, they may be coming next year. I do actually have one on this list that is only about a half hour away from me. There'll be a lot of things going on in the comments, but one of the things, if you want me to go and check that out, I'll actually be in Disney World on October 4th, but I can do it a couple days later. Or if I'm not mistaken, I believe one of those stores is near Angela as well, and I'm sure she would be very willing to go check that out for you. All right, so before we get into park stuff, we're gonna jump into Disney Cruise Line. They announced 2 years ago that there would be some more ships coming into Disney Cruise Line. We got the name of the first one. It is the Disney Wish. It will set sail in January of 2022. So 2 and change years from now. It will have a 3-story atrium, concept art seen here, inspired by the beauty of an enchanted fairy tale, and Rapunzel, seen here, is the figure that will be on the stern of the boat. Stern, is that the right term? I don't know. Don't really know ship terms, but she's on the back. I really like the look of that statue if that's what it ends up looking like. Speaking of Disney Cruise Line, Disney bought a new island. They are building something similar to Castaway Cay, which is where a lot of the Disney Cruise Lines stop now. This one will be called Lighthouse Point, and it will be located on the island of Eleuthera, I think is how that's pronounced. But this is the island and where Lighthouse Point will be. The well-known Imagineer Joe Rohde, who is behind, well, a lot of the recent great things that they've done, including a lot of Animal Kingdom, will be taking the helm on this. And yes, the term Rohde Island was thrown around almost immediately, so expect to hear that quite a bit. As far as I know, no real details as to when Lighthouse Point will open. And I apologize, there is a possibility I am missing details on some of this stuff. I may have missed things. Feel free to let me know in the comments, especially about opening dates. If I miss opening dates, absolutely let me know, because that is important. All right, now into park stuff. We're starting with the non-US parks, and we're gonna start in Paris, where they are redoing the New York Hotel into New York Hotel, the Art of Marvel. It will open next summer, which I assume means summer of 2020. It will celebrate 80 years of Marvel art and artists with more than 300 curated works of art on display. There will be suites themed with heroes like Spider-Man, like this one you are looking at right now, which the theme seems to be mostly the headboard, but still, you know, better than nothing, I guess. You will be able to also meet these legends in a dedicated space. Of course, Avengers Campus, the Avengers themed area, is also coming to Disneyland Paris, but I will talk about that when I get to Disneyland US version. At Hong Kong Disneyland, they are redoing the castle there. It will be transforming into the Castle of Magical Dreams. Here is that. There will be 13 towers, each featuring princesses and heroines. It will also be a spot for new entertainment, including a daytime show, and a nighttime spectacular will also house a Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Still at Hong Kong, there will be a brand new Frozen area. There will be a one-of-a-kind Frozen coaster called Wandering Oaken's Sliding Sleighs that will take guests on a journey through Arendelle. The experience begins in Oaken's famous store. Woohoo! Then Olaf and Sven help pull your sled to the top of the lift before sending you on your way. Sounds pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit of Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and actually the art kind of looked like that as well. We'll also be getting Frozen Ever After, the ride that you find now in the Norway Pavilion of Epcot, will be going to Hong Kong as well in the Frozen area. The Shanghai Park is also getting a new land, this one themed to Zootopia. There's been rumors for years that Zootopia might be coming to Animal Kingdom and replacing Rafiki's Planet Watch. Nothing about that announced, but I do have a theory on that I will share later. The Zootopia Land in Shanghai will feature new entertainment, merchandise, and dining options, along with a new major attraction that blends storytelling and state-of-the-art technology, which is a way of saying they don't know what it is yet. That's always Disney's default, is blending storytelling and technology, because you could say that about just about every ride they've ever done. So all right, let's get into the US park, starting on the West Coast in Disneyland. Disneyland is getting a new parade. Spoiler alert, the Magic Kingdom is not. But the new Disneyland parade will debut in spring 2020, so not too far away from now. It is called Magic Happens, which kind of reminds me of Beep Happens, which isn't really the connotation I think they were going for. It seems very dismissive, like, magic happens, I don't know. But the floats do look cool. Here are some floats featuring Moana, Sleeping Beauty, and Coco. Now, I already mentioned Avengers Campus talking about Paris. It will also be coming to California Adventure. And in something fairly surprising, the first attraction will be opening in 2020. Now, I don't think they said when, so we don't know if this is going to be a summer 2020 or late 2020, like a December possibly, but they did say 2020 for sure. We know the name of the area is Avengers Campus now. That was part of my news on Friday. First building open will be the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, acronym of course, WEB. You can guess what attraction's going to be in there. That will be a new Spider-Man experience, quote, the first Disney ride-through attraction to feature this iconic superhero. And the word Disney is doing all of the work in that, for anyone who has been on the Spider-Man attraction at Universal's Islands of Adventure. So this is an open house at WEB, where you are invited for a test drive of the latest invention, the Web Slinger vehicle. This is what I assume is a pre-show of it, and the Web Slinger vehicle that I just mentioned presumably looks like this. It has a little bit of that Buzz Lightyear Toy Story Mania flair, where it looks like you are shooting webs out, just like Spider-Man. Now, of course, there are lots of spider bots that you can see in that picture that have run amok. Things always go wrong in these kinds of things, and you have to help collect them. Also in Avengers Campus will be Pym Kitchen. Of course, Hank Pym is the scientist that created Ant-Man and the Wasp. His Pym particles can shrink and grow things, and all of the food in the test kitchen will be shrunken or extra large. So I guess like really big pretzels or really tiny asparagus. I don't know. There will be meet and greets throughout the area, including Black Widow, Ant-Man, the Wasp, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, and, quote, superheroes from Wakanda and Asgard, which makes me wonder why they couldn't say Black Panther and Thor, but now this is why I put this under the California Adventure part instead of the Disney Paris part, because It says one of the iconic buildings in the California campus will be the Avengers Headquarters, which is seen in this picture. That wording makes it sound like this building will not be in Paris, which makes me think Paris might only be getting one ride. I don't remember hearing that before, but that's sure what this makes it sound like. They say you may catch a glimpse of Avengers along its rooftops. Sure. This building, which will be phase 2, so not opening in 2020, will be the future entrance of the brand new e-ticket attraction seen here, where you will step aboard a Quinjet and fly alongside the Avengers in an epic adventure to Wakanda and beyond. It actually just says beyond, but it rhymes that way. Now, looking back at the pictures, it looks like these people on the left here are almost wearing jetpacks, which makes me think it's going to be some sort of simulator type ride, which makes me a little nervous because they've been relying a lot on simulator type rides lately, and I don't like that. Especially because the Spider-Man ride also looks like it's going to be a point and shoot at screens type ride, but I don't actually get any input on it. So lastly, at Disneyland, it was announced a little while ago that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the attraction that will be opening in spring at Disney's Hollywood Studios, will also be opening in Disneyland in Mickey's Toontown at a future date unknown, 2021, 2022 range probably. We got the exteriors of both of those, so I am going to use it as a bridge between the two. This is the Disneyland version in Mickey's Toontown. Now, moving to Disney World and Hollywood Studios, this is the exterior for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Hollywood Studios. No surprise, it is going into the old building where Great Movie Ride used to be in the Chinese Theater, so it still pretty much just looks like the Chinese Theater. And it specifically says Disney Imagineers are getting it ready to open next year. They didn't specifically say spring, at least in this release that I saw. So that makes me worried that it's maybe going to get pushed back again, but for now we're still going to go with spring for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Before we go through the rest of the attraction stuff at Disney World, I have to talk about Disney Genie. So Disney Genie they announced yesterday, and this is something that you can make customized itineraries that can be optimized. That sounds real familiar, especially any of you who have watched a lot of our videos or subscribed to, say, touringplans.com, where we have all sorts of personalized touring plans that you can optimize. Now, we don't know a ton of details about what Disney Genie will do other than these couple of screenshots that you are looking at right now. The word on the street is that this might be a paid option, that this won't necessarily be free, or at least parts of it might not be free to everyone. But like I said, they really didn't give any details about other than what they would like it to do. But it is supposed to be available this fall. Believe you me, we will do lots of testing on it to see how accurate it is and to show you how much more accurate touring plans will be, which we are pretty confident about. That one just seems a little personal. All right, back to attractions. Cirque Du Soleil show at Disney Springs was closed quite a while ago. I don't remember when. I feel like it's been a year or two. But we finally have a new show coming. Walt Disney Animation Studios did help develop this one with Cirque du Soleil, which will combine storytelling and heart with Cirque du Soleil's signature artistry. So I assume they know what it is because they've got to be rehearsing before it starts, but they don't want to tell us yet anyway. Previews will begin for that March 20th of 2020 and leading up to the premiere on April 17th. So Cirque du Soleil fans that are going next spring or summer, keep an eye out for tickets coming to that in the west side area of Disney Springs. We got a little bit more detail about Reflections, a Disney Lakeside Lodge, which is the hotel built on the former site of River Country near Fort Wilderness. We got this new concept art here of the entrance. You can kind of see the Bambi characters on both sides of the pathway in there. And I believe the statue in the check-in area is supposed to be of Pocahontas, which kind of makes sense. There will also be A-frame cabins, a lakeside, and kind of treehouse, like raised up looking things Also lakeside looking over, so not exactly sure where those will be. There were pictures shown, but a lot of the pictures shown of some of this stuff was only at D23. I don't have good high-res images of them or anything like that. Once we get them, I will pop them into a news in the future. They also announced there will be a Princess and the Frog themed restaurant at Reflections, which makes less sense. I mean, only they had a New Orleans themed hotel that didn't have a sit-down dining option. But I can't think of one. All right, moving on, no time for contemplation. We have to move on to Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, which is the official name of the Star Wars hotel next to Disney Hollywood Studios. So, we have been saying since this was announced 2 years ago that this would be more of a cruise ship-like experience, and that is exactly what they are doing. It will be 2-night stays and only 2-night stays. You will all arrive and depart on the same day, much like you do on a cruise ship. And presumably they would let you do multiple 2-night stays in a row, except that I think some of the stories might repeat themselves if you do. So I imagine most people will only do a 2-night stay. It will also be very expensive. Don't know pricing yet, but expect it to be priced similar to a cruise line. So for those 2-night stays, don't be shocked if that number is something in the range of, say, $3,000. So this is how some of it at least is going to work. You will arrive at the Galactic Starcruiser, where you will transfer onto a launch pod, which looks like this. The launch pod will take you to the ship via a jump to hyperspace. You will then step into the main atrium where your journey begins. This atrium is kind of where it's kind of just the main area, like a lobby basically. And this is also where you can get an excursion to Batuu in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios, which will be part of the 2-day experience. Other areas include the bridge, which is where you can operate the ship's navigation and defense systems. You will be allowed to wield a lightsaber and test your skills, which, gosh, that sounds awesome. There is the Silver Sea Lounge, which is a bar, and I don't know if it will actually have holographic sabacc tables, but they sure show it here, don't they? Each cabin will have windows just like the rest of the ship, where you will actually see other ships going by, other planets. It will help tell the story as you move through. And possibly my favorite thing about this is there will be areas to explore that aren't necessarily part of the story. At least not at first. I guess it will depend how many people find them. If nobody's finding the secret areas, then they'll probably start telling you, hey, there's a secret area over there. You know how that works. But one of them will be the engineering room. It is crew only, but you can sneak in to kind of see how it works as you see a child crawling through there. Now, will we all have to crawl through? I don't know, but I kind of hope so, actually. I love stupid stuff like that. I know the Galactic Starcruiser Hotel is certainly not for everybody. I think it sounds like an absolute blast. Will I be paying $3,000 for 2 nights to stay there? No, I won't. Will I be absolutely begging Len to let me go and review it? Yes, I will. All right, now it is time to move to Epcot. Epcot is where we are ending, but don't worry, I still have like 4 pages of notes on just Epcot. Epcot is finally getting the love. It is the last park kind of to get the full renovation. We're getting the Tron coaster in Magic Kingdom, which we didn't get any new details about. Animal Kingdom, of course, just got Pandora 2 years ago. Didn't get any more details about anything that might be replacing, say, Rafiki's Planet Watch, which was closed for like all winter, or Primeval Whirl, which has been on this mysterious refurbishment for several months and may never reopen. We don't know. The refurbishment just keeps getting pushed back, and they don't seem to actually be doing anything, but that's a news story for a different time, I think. That ties into the theory that I mentioned before as to why maybe we didn't get more details about, say, Animal Kingdom, something additional coming to Hollywood Studios. I don't think they wanted to announce anything this time that wouldn't be ready for the 50th anniversary. Disney World the Magic Kingdom specifically opened October 1st, 1971. That means October 1st of 2021, it is 50 years old. They will be celebrating the 50th all year long at all 4 parks. So I don't think they wanted to announce anything that wasn't going to be open by 2021. Another thing we did not get announced is a new Epcot World Showcase Pavilion. Very, very strong rumors that Brazil was going to be announced. I can't say anything official. I don't know anything official. I just hear whispers now and again. Have they started some construction where the Brazil Pavilion might go? Anything is possible. Did they not announce it because of the rainforest fires that are happening right now? Certainly possible. Are they starting to build it anyway without an announcement? You never know. But what I can say is all the things that were announced for Epcot, starting with a reorganization. These will be the new lands in Epcot. World Showcase will stay World Showcase. The front of the park, instead of being Future World, will now be World Discovery, World Celebration, and World Nature. And World seems like it's in the wrong place in those. I get what they were doing there. Now you can see kind of roughly here the drawing of what things will be where. One thing that concerns me a little bit here for the future of the Imagination Pavilion, as you can maybe make out in this, it is cut almost directly in half between World Nature and World Celebration back there, and they made no mention anywhere else of the Imagination Pavilion, which makes me wonder how long it will be around. That one I have absolutely no rumors, I've heard no whispers about, I just noticed that. So let's start in World Showcase as we know it now. This will be getting a few new things, starting with some new movies. These were all announced before, we just got a little bit more details. So Canada will be Canada Far and Wide in Circle Vision 360. It will debut January, so only a few months from now in the Canada Pavilion. New scenes, new story. In the China Pavilion, another new movie called Wondrous China, filmed and presented in a completely seamless 360-degree digital format. No word on when that will open, although I don't imagine it will be all that long. France Pavilion, we got an opening season for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. It will open in summer of 2020, which is kind of what we thought anyway. That is also when the new crepe restaurant, La Crêperie de Paris, and yes, I know the accent is terrible. That will have both table service and quick service options. I know my daughter will love that. She just would eat crepes nonstop if she could. Also in the France Pavilion, this was announced a while ago that there would be a Beauty and the Beast sing-along that will run in the Impressions de France Theater, but Impressions is not going away. They are going to kind of share. We don't know exactly how that schedule is going to work out, but we will find out soon because that is also debuting in January of 2020. We thought it might debut like last January, but still. The big World Showcase news, since we didn't get a Brazil Pavilion, is that the United Kingdom Pavilion is getting a Mary Poppins attraction. In fact, they are getting what I think is a new area called Cherry Tree Lane. I seem to remember them mentioning that this would be an expansion of the UK Pavilion, not a redress of the area in the UK Pavilion already, although I am not 100% sure on that. But Cherry Tree Lane, you will enter number 17, home of the Banks family, where your adventure will begin. And I absolutely love this attraction poster. Now, I had kind of thought Mary Poppins attraction was just going to be a carousel similar to the one in the original movie, and maybe in the more recent movie. I didn't actually see that one. But being that they say you will step into the Banks residence to begin your adventure, it actually sounds like it may be more than that. So here's to hoping it's actually a full attraction. Again, no opening date, but I assume it will be open by the 50th anniversary in 2021, which means they are probably starting construction like now. Something that will open in 2020 at Epcot is the new nighttime show in the lagoon. Now, this gets confusing because Illuminations Reflections of Earth, the current nighttime show, only runs through September 30th. Starting October 1st, we'll be getting Epcot Forever, which despite its name will not last forever, it will last around a year or so. I still find this sentence hilarious. Following the limited time run of Epcot Forever, words mean things, guys. But the new Harmonious, And I say it like that because it's the word harmonious, except the last two letters are both capitalized. So it's Harmony-us, just so you know. It will debut as the largest nighttime spectacular ever created for a Disney park. Now it just says in 2020, so I don't know if that means October 1st, December 1st, January 1st. It's not that one. But it will carry you away harmoniously on a stream of familiar Disney tunes reinterpreted by a diverse group of artists from around the globe. So it's got songs and probably fireworks and stuff. All right, and that is it for World Showcase, although that was a lot. Now we move on to World Celebration. So World Celebration is kind of the spine of the front of the park now. We'll offer new experiences that connect us to one another and the world around us. It will include Spaceship Earth, which will remain a voyage through time, but as rumored for a long time, it will be getting a refurbishment, a massive refurbishment. In fact, it will be closing sometime within the next 6 months or so. We've heard either late this year or early next year. Again, they want all of this done by 2021, and it might take 18 months or so to do this refurbishment. It will have a new narration and an entirely new musical score that will focus on the moments and ideas that define our story. You will follow a magical story light that brings the entire experience to life in dynamic ways. This concept art, you can see the new fountain. You can see somebody on the left very excited to take a selfie with Spaceship Earth. So also something that I mentioned on Friday in the concept art, a new pavilion in the World Celebration area that will be the perfect place for live events and the home base for Epcot's signature festivals. I really like the look of this. It's got that kind of retro future look that I have been begging them to go for in Future World. It is 3 stories, a plaza level, a expo level, and then a park that sits in the sky on the top level. It will be a very good place to view Harmony-us from. Don't know any more details. Like I said, there was a rumor that there might be a rooftop lounge or something on top. It could also be a place for, say, dessert parties that they would charge extra for. I think that one's almost a given, but don't really know what the rest of it will be. The entrance plaza, as you know, will be completely transformed, more plants, things like that. And then on the back of Spaceship Earth, will be in what they're calling Dreamer's Point, which is an area that sounds very nice. There will be a wishing tree and an enchanted forest, and this statue of Walt Disney sitting and looking towards World Showcase, which will be an amazing photo spot. Honestly, I might be more excited about this area kind of behind Spaceship Earth than I am about anything else in Epcot. Just the idea of being able to kind of wander through, you know, plants and places to explore in that area, which has for so long just been concrete. That segues nicely into World Nature, which as you're entering a World Celebration will be on your right, including things like the land and the seas with Nemo and friends, and they don't mention imagination at all. Here is the concept art where you can see both Dreamer's Point, which is directly behind Spaceship Earth, and to the right, around where that pink strip is where World Nature seems to start. Where all that kind of water is in the right bottom corner, I believe that is what was announced on Friday, which is Journey of Water, the Moana inspired area. The concept art for that seen here. It is a lush exploration trail that will invite you to meet and play with magical living water. Another film that was announced a while ago was Awesome Planet, replacing the Circle of Life film in the Land Pavilion. That will also debut finally in January of 2020. Okay, so on the other side of World Celebration now we are in World Discovery. This is stories about science, technology, and intergalactic adventure. So that includes Test Track, I almost said World of Motion just there, I'm too old. Mission Space, and the new Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster, which we have a name for. It is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. I don't know why every attraction has to have a colon in it, but they do, I guess. This is the only concept art we got. It's a roller coaster. It is a planetarium-like exhibition that explores the similarities and mysteries of the formation of Earth's galaxy and Xandar. You'll be invited to learn more about the treasures Xandar has to share until the moment when the Guardians of the Galaxy arrive and the adventures across the cosmos ensue. It is a storytelling coaster. Gotta have that story and technology cross-section there. It will rotate 360 degrees to focus your attention on the action, including the first reverse launch on a Disney coaster. Another thing that we have been wondering about an opening date for that we still didn't quite get, but we got closer, is the Space Restaurant at the Mission Space Pavilion. It will be called Space 220, a name that was rumored, but I thought maybe it was just a code name for the project, but it's not. It is called Space 220. This will have a big curved viewing screen to make it look like you are in space 220 miles up. You even will board a special elevator that will take you to the space station. Kind of reminds me of what they used to do in the Seas Pavilion. Will be opening this winter. I don't know if that means December, January, February, but winter we got. They had previously stated that it would open in 2019, so I'm thinking they're at least aiming for December, but that they didn't say it specifically means they aren't sure. But if you're going in like March, I would expect it to be open. Of course, we will give all the details on our blog at touringplans.com/blog as soon as we know when reservations are open. Finally, in World Discovery is the Play Pavilion. Now this is replacing the old Wonders of Life Pavilion, and it will open in time for the 50th anniversary is all they said, so probably just barely. In this digital metropolis, you'll discover an interactive city bursting with games and virtual things and so on and so forth. There's a lot of words on here. One example is that the fashion icon Edna Mode from The Incredibles will send you on a quest to rid the world of uninspired style. Sounds interesting, although it is one of the things I'm probably least excited about Epcot, which says a lot about what they've offered, that just doesn't do anything for me. Now, all of this stuff coming to Epcot will be in the new preview center, which is called the Walt Disney Imagineering Presents the Epcot Experience, which is in the old Odyssey restaurant, which is in between the Test Track and the Mexico Pavilion. That will open October 1st of this year. So in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to go in there and see all of the upcoming things. And that is it. This has been so long. I'm sure we will get more details coming up, and I will tell you all of those in the future. I was just trying to get through this as fast as possible. For those of you who maybe weren't keeping up with all the news and wanted it all in one sort of concise place, here it is. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And be excellent to each other.